Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Milton Board meeting for May 12th. We'll start with the pledge to the flag by Councilman Milton.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Brenda, can you call the roll, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Present.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Present.
Councilman Froelich.
Present.
Councilman is absent.
Present.
Supervisor Salatic.
Present. Okay, we will begin with our opening public comment. If anybody wishes to speak, please let us know. Mr. Begoni.
I'll make this one quick and easy and save the best for last. I put in a FOIL request maybe 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, for that draft report you referenced in the meeting 2 weeks ago that the controller was putting together. And I also requested any backup documentation, communication, emails, et cetera, and I've received no response. Now I'm wondering why. I'm asking you why I haven't received any response. And I communicated with Brenda, but it's not Brenda. I mean, she hasn't received the information herself, so she can't respond to it.
I believe we have 20 business days to respond to that FOIL.
Well, you have 5 days. No, that's incorrect, Bill. But go ahead. No, you have 5 days. And then you're supposed to let me know, I got it, I don't have it, you'll have it in a certain period of time. And your attorney, I'm sure, can familiarize yourself with the Freedom of Information law, but you're incorrect. So I'm standing asking why.
I don't know why you weren't responded to in the 5 days.
I'm sorry?
I don't know why you didn't get a response to your FOIL in the first 5 days. I don't know why. I will look into it tomorrow and I'll let you know.
Great. And from the last meeting, there's a draft report, from what I understood, correct?
A draft, yes.
Right. And that's a public record, correct?
I don't believe a draft is a public record.
Anything you create is a public record.
And it hasn't been disseminated to the public
It
yet.
doesn't mean any difference. It's a public record once you create it. And then you alluded to it in a public meeting. I'd like to see,
I see that.
I would like to receive a response to my FOIL, and I'd like to receive those documents. Thank you.
Nobody can hear you.
Nobody can hear me.
Right,
It's all muted. I just got my message from somebody else.
Oh,
Benny,
I'm
you're
sorry.
muted.
Yep, I apologize. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Dawson.
Please, Tony Dawson, 274 Greenfield Avenue, Boston Spa, New York. Earlier today, I sent an email to all members of the town board indicating that I was opposed to the motion to set a special meeting for public and business input and asked that it be removed from the agenda or table. I trust that all board members have received my correspondence with supporting documentation and reviewed it. I did speak to the town supervisor earlier today, and he indicated that he did receive my letter and attachments, but could not open the video clips. I advised Supervisor Zlotnick that the videos are just clips from the April 14, 2021 meeting and the April 28, 2021 meeting, whereby Councilwoman Kerr assured us her objective was for reasonable compromise with the board, neighbors, and business owners. She said, "I want to bring everyone together before we take any steps. We have every intention of meeting with both sides. We are going to be fair for everyone. We are not going to try to push anything through, and that she has not met with anyone." Well, all that was untrue, as here we are tonight. Clearly she has had meetings, emails, text messages, and probably phone conversations with multiple people, just no dialogue with us. The stakeholders, the owners of scrapyards, who have invested millions of dollars into our companies, who employ many, many people, who provide great social utility and support other local businesses with reciprocal business. This is simply not fair to us. At this time, taking any action on this motion to set a special meeting for public and business input is premature and contradicts what was outlined on record at both the April 14, 2021 meeting and the April 28, 2021 meeting. As there is nothing of substance and we have had zero opportunity for input. If this item is still on the agenda, I respectfully urge this board to vote in opposition of or to table this motion until after we have had an opportunity to participate and offer our input. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public comment. Next up is Resolution 29. Resolution to adopt the Town of Milton revisions to the town fee schedules. Whereas the town board typically approves the fee schedule at its January organizational meeting, however, from time to time, reviews of the fee schedules throughout the year are made to determine if changes are necessary and needed and need to be considered and made. And whereas, based on the recommendations of the town clerk, changes need to be made to the fees set for the dog license fee and the unlicensed dog fee. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby approves the revised fee schedule, amending the dog license late fee and unlicensed fee, all is set forth on the attached revised fee schedule, which is hereby adopted and shall take effect immediately. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Milton. I need someone to make a motion to adopt Resolution 29 of 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, second. Thank you, John. Any discussion? Brenda, can you hold the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Crowell.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Salatin.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Motion to reappoint Nick Mayer, 338 Meadowlark Drive, Boston Spa, as Camp Health Director at a rate of $15.15 an hour.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Frank. Any discussion?
I guess have we decided on the director?
We have executive session tonight to discuss hiring positions. Brenda, can you pull the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Crowell.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Salatin.
Yes. Motion to advertise again for a member of the Ethics Board. We are short one member.
Did you skip the website upgrade?
We'll get back to it. I thought I'd get the motions out of the way first.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Frank.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ryan. Any discussion? Brenda, can you pull the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Crowell.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Salatin.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Next up, a motion to set a special meeting for public and business input. That would be regarding our junk drive regulations, Bart?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion, but I want to be clear, listening to Mr. Dawson's concerns. So I would be in favor and would make a motion to hold a special meeting to listen to concerns, not necessarily move forward any proposed changes to the law or the code. And I would be in favor of having both the public as well as the business owners be present so that we can listen to concerns and ideas from both sides at the same time. And if agreeable, I think we can probably handle this maybe early June 1st perhaps, or Tuesday.
Okay. You want to set that date?
If we have a second and the board agrees, that would work for everyone.
So your motion is to set a meeting for June 2nd at 7 p.m.?
Sorry, June 1st.
June 1st, 7 p.m. Okay. Anyone wish to second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I got a couple of questions. And maybe Brenda, you can help me. Why didn't we put input for junkyard here? I didn't understand what this even was.
That's all I got in the email.
I thought I was.
No, it wasn't. That's all the email said.
Well, I just said I apologize.
Okay.
I guess I would be in favor of a meeting if we could have a decent dialogue back and forth. I'm not so sure that would happen.
That's what I'm hoping for too.
I know. I don't know if it's better to bring in sides separately and talk to them before you try to get them together so you have an understanding of what both sides are looking for. This is a pretty emotional issue with everybody, so I don't know if bringing them together is the good thing.
What would you suggest, John, that two of us as two board members?
No,
meet with-
we could do it as a town board. We could bring in,
You'd like to have two meetings, then one for the residents and one for the junkyard owners?
yeah,
And who would be allowed at the junkyard owners meeting? Just the junkyard owners?
I believe there's only 3, am I correct?
Still gonna be a public meeting, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how we would separate it and tell the public in general that they couldn't come to a public hearing or meeting. I don't think we can do that. I think we'll ask for some civility, and if we don't get it, we'll shut things down. Anything else? Jim?
no, it's
Okay. Brendan, you hold the board, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
yes.
Councilwoman Hurd.
Yes,
Councilman Crowell.
Yes,
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes. Thank you very much. Next up is a motion to carry over 40 hours of vacation time from Bill Wade. Letter dated May 5th, Dear Town Supervisor and Town Board members, I am requesting that 40 hours of my vacation time be carried over into the next year. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Sincerely, William Wade. So we need a motion to approve carryover of 40 hours of vacation.
so moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, Frank. Any discussion?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hurd.
yes,
Councilman Crowell.
Yes,
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalati.
Yes. Okay, next up will be a discussion of our proposals for the website upgrade. I think we all got the proposals, and I want to thank Councilman Isakson for diving into that. You want to give us a little a briefing there, Ryan?
Sure. So at the last board meeting, Brenda had provided me a printout, basically a proposal of what could be offered from, I think it was 5 or 6 different businesses in regards to revamping or redesigning the town's website. So after going through each, my personal recommendation would be to go with Revise, not just from the financial standpoint. It is a very appealing price, but also the offerings that are available in their packages as well as add-on options. So if the board is agreeable to proceed with Revise, there's really 2 options that we can look at. A template option, which there's 4 different layouts that we would pick from, and this business would do their best to fit our needs into one of those buckets. The other is a custom website, which is about $4,000 or so more, maybe $5,000 more, where they can basically from scratch create a custom website to be tailored to our needs. The costs, again, so a template is around $6,000, a custom is around $11,000 to $11,500, and then it would be an annual cost of about $2,400 per year after. One of the nice things that I didn't see any of the other businesses offer is if you have a custom website through them and remain a customer for 5 consecutive years. After the 5th year, they offer a free website redesign, which I'm sure we will need by then. So, to me, Revise is very appealing. It looks like a good option financially, and I was impressed with the offerings that they had.
Brenda, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I liked Revise as well. They were very personable when I talked to them.
Brenda and I had conversations with multiple vendors, and I agree with Ryan. I think Revise gives us our best option for moving forward. And I'd really like, as Ryan said, the part where after 5 years, they'll give us another update for free. So we can move on that in 2 weeks. We'll have the numbers and the figures all drawn up for everybody. But at this time, I think Revise is, my personal opinion is Revise is the way to go. Thank you, Ryan. Does anybody have anything under old business?
I guess there's one thing I wanted to note. So we've seen, again, some concerns with the playground areas, in terms of attempted breaking into bathrooms, windows, vandalism, and so forth. We talked a while back about potentially looking at options for surveillance and security. Now that we're kind of seeing this coming up again, we should revisit the issue. I don't know if we have to kind of start branching out to see what options are available to us, or if we have that.
No, Anthony has some paperwork that's going to be ready for us in another, just a couple of days. Anthony and his guys have done a pretty good job of securing the place up, and he has told me that some of the incidents of the major vandalism with the doors being broken into and sledgehammers being taken to the doors have pretty much stopped. So I think that with the added measures that we're going to be taking in the near future, we'll be able to really reduce that to a bare minimum.
I'm not sure this falls under old business, but it falls into the playground issues. I've had a couple requests from residents over there. First of all, the fence gets fixed on the Susan Isle playground, because that caution tape has been on there for almost a year. I guess we can call in the fence company if it's something that has to be addressed by them. The other thing was, is there a possibility of planting some trees along there, along the road? Just to give it a little privacy and cut the sound down. Had some complaints from a couple of the neighbors directly across the street. But I know that playground's getting very active, which is good. It's great, the kids love it, but I think, can we look into that, or have Anthony looking into that?
Well, I had a discussion with a couple of deputies, and their thoughts on that were, if we put some kind of cover up there and we have kids breaking into the park now, how are we going to see behind the bushes and the shrubs that
Well, the thing is,
they're jumping over now, and there's they're cutting holes in the fence and climbing over the 4-foot
well,
fence.
they cut a huge hole in the fence, and there wasn't any bushes there, so they're being bold enough to do it anyway.
Well, I think if we can talk about that if you guys want to put up.
Just something
Yep.
a resident asked me about, and I'm passing on. Thank you.
Sure.
I just want everyone to know that we are online for dog licensing. It's ready to go. We have training tomorrow, so hopefully by the end of the month it will be ready, and you can renew your dog license online.
Okay, does anybody have anything under new business? Okay, earlier this week, I got an email from the Department of Social Services. The Emergency Rental Assistance Program will be up and running very soon through Department of Social Services. The county has $6.8 million set aside from the federal government and the state to help landlords and tenants apply for rent relief. But tenants and landlords can apply together rather than overload the system. They're asking landlords and tenants to put in an application together. The site is not up and running yet. They're expecting it to be open very soon. They were hoping for the end of the month, but with the federal government not sure when they're going to release the money, they're not sure how it's going to go. If anybody does want it, you can I guess they're calling it pre-registration. If you want to pre-register for the program, you can sign up at the Department of Social Services link from the Saratoga County website. So I would urge anybody as a tenant or a landlord, if you're having trouble, please check it out. Anything else? Joel, you're up.
Good evening, Joel Kanaki from MJ Engineering. Can you hear me?
I hope.
Doesn't go on.
Is it on?
Is it?
You got a green light?
No. Either way. Using my phone there.
Steel Brenda's? That was working when I left.
It was working, I think, for
10 minutes ago. Right.
So, good evening. What we had before we gave to Supervisor Zlotnick and Councilman Frolich was a updated proposal for the Phase 2 work for the Town Hall. And that was based on a meeting Monday where we solidified the scope as far as what the town wanted to do, and also move some work that was originally planned for town forces to put under contract. So we gave you that. That includes full scope, also additional scope items, and generally speaking, it was the mechanical work, which was new furnace, air handlers, condensers, ventilation. That was not in the previous contract. Some of the refinement of the internal renovations, which was generally the bare bones of the original contract that got pulled out, but obviously that scope grew because of the additional flooding. IT work, which includes constructing an IT room and running all new data fiber throughout the building. Sanitary sewer, getting off the septic and going into the Heritage Springs sewer. And then the biggest, well, one of the other things is now this is a multi-trade contract, because we're over that $500,000 threshold based on the original work from the roof. So now we have to do, basically manage 4 prime contracts: general construction, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. So our scope again brings it the same thing, basically from start to finish: design, bid, CA services, and construction observation. Attached to the proposal was the scope that we solidified, which went room by room, floor by floor, what was going to be done, who was going to do it. And work, it also included work that is currently being completed under contract. We did also give a more formal schedule. I know last meeting, when the whole scope started to take shape, and we presented that scope to the board to sort of make sure this was the start of the dialogue and who would do the work. We did mention that it would possibly be the end of the year, and I think it's worthwhile to quantify what that meant. That wasn't just our work. That was design work, bid work, construct the project, turn the keys on. So I think we've given you a more defined schedule in this one. It's still the similar schedule, and it gives milestones. You know, that includes 6 weeks to go from today to 90% documents as the town, 2 weeks to review the documents, that might be a shorter period. And then from there, we take about 2 weeks to go to full bid. That allows the board to authorize the bid. We bid it, 4 weeks to bid the project, receive bids, authorize the bid, and then basically 2.5 months to construct it. Very aggressive construction schedule. So, you know, the bidding environment will basically tell you, yes, we can do it and it's reasonable, or we can do it and there's a premium in doing it. I will tell you from my experience that right now, raw materials is very volatile. Prices and both availability. Certain things that, you know, bits and pieces of things are not available, like example, and this may not be true for this project, but mechanical units. Bits and pieces from the mechanical units are very hard to get, so that whole mechanical unit may be a long lead item. We don't know that yet, so as we design stuff, we're going to try to select things that are both economical to the project, but are also reasonably available to the project. So it's a volatile environment right now. So if there's any questions, we're certainly going to see if we can speak to those questions.
Anybody have any questions for Joel? think,
I just have a couple of clarifications, Joel.
Sure.
When you talked about the sanitary sewer, that also included a plumbing upgrade in the building?
Yeah, it was both the interior plumbing work, that was sort of, we've always talked about it, but it's also putting in pump stations and going into public sewer and abandoning the 2 septic systems that are out there.
And there was some minor electrical work, grounding work that had to be done.
Yes.
Those were all things that you had, mechanical, electrical.
The assessment we did, yeah, the electrical wasn't as degraded as was expected from just wear and tear and flood event. It was really focused more on mechanical units, things that sort of wiped out. You know, they were 25 years old, and you were on more time with some of those systems.
I think when you had going in,
Yeah, it wasn't surprising, I don't think. The one thing to Mr. Folish's point on the sewer, you know, I met with Bill Lewis and Jason Miller last Friday to sort of figure out where the sewer would go. In general terms, it's an easy fix, but we have to basically put in 2 pump stations because you have the court sewer up front and then the rest of the town hall in the back, so we have to do 2 pump stations, kind of the 1 force main to go out. There was a discussion that the town bought a pump station. Highly recommend not using it. It's 20 years old. There's no part warranty anymore, and the odds of the materials and bits and pieces of that breakdown, they may not even exist anymore. So why don't you just surplus and sell it? So we're going to go with all new stuff. Plus, I don't know if it matches the county sewage standards or anything, so that's what we have to get here today.
you have something to, I quoted your proposal to everybody this morning, I think.
Okay, yes, because we provided it to you, so I can write it right.
I think we should be moving on this. So I'm ready to entertain a motion here to get this going. The longer we wait, the longer we wait.
I will make that motion.
Thank you, John. I will second that motion. I'm allowed to do that, am I not? Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes. I'm not in favor of moving forward with this tonight. It was a 12-page report that we received today. I know there are portions of this that we've covered previously, but in order for us to completely review it and look at the numbers, I don't think that's sufficient time. We've discussed this before.
Understood. I do want to caution the board, and I by no means am I pressuring you, please don't take it this way, but understand, if you wait to the next town board meeting, now you've pushed a potential completion date into January, but you guys have to make this decision, you have to be comfortable with this decision, I completely understand that.
And this is not directed at you, Joel, but we were in the same situation at the last meeting too,
Right.
with tiles and lights. It
Yep.
was, we've got to do it tonight, or we're not going to get into the court before the end of the month. And being in the court last week, I still don't know that we'll be there by the end of the month.
I think it's going to be down to the wire. They we were here yesterday, and just from what I saw last Friday, there was marketable progress.
Well, just to give everybody an upgrade, we did a walkthrough yesterday with Jenny,
Yeah, that's,
and the court finish work is just the ceiling tile and the lights, cleaning the carpet.
right, that's right.
Basically, that's where that's at. There was some minor issues in the court with
The insulation?
vapor barrier underneath the insulation wasn't put in, so you're addressing that already.
Yep.
But other than that, the court should be ready to move and have court in by the end of the month
That's what I suspected.
without a problem. Yes, we did have kind of a rush to get the ceiling tiles and get that done. And I can say the ceiling tiles for the court are here. The lights for the court will be here either Friday or Monday. So by making decisions, that's how we're going to get this building done. And I can say honestly, it's very frustrating to me, and I realize, Ryan, that some of these things are quick and have to go through, but this whole project has been delay after delay after delay, and that's why we're sitting here and talking the first 3 years. When I looked through the minutes, back through the minutes, and looked at decisions this board made. We delayed things 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and that's why this project keeps getting pushed out. And that's all I'm going to say.
And I'll just state, I can appreciate that, but I think the numbers were somewhere around like $84,000 or $85,000. So that's quite a bit, it's quite a bit of money to just make sure that, I'd like to review that. I mean, it's not our money to spend, it's the residents' money.
John, this letter was dated yesterday, and we didn't get it till 11 o'clock this morning. Ryan's in a worse position than I am, because he works all day to review, I don't know, we have like 10 pages here. I had questions too. I mean, there's question marks after all the lighting, after we voted to purchase lighting 2 weeks ago. And the furnaces, that's something brand new to me. Can anybody explain that? Why we need new furnaces, or it's being incorporated with the air conditioning units that we...
That was all in the assessment that we provided to the board in March, and then we presented. And that report was fully provided to the board, and that scope was presented last month in the same summary. Really, the only thing that was done is added a couple scope items. The furnace mechanical upgrades was in that scope.
I know that, yeah, I know there were upgrades, but I didn't realize it, because I knew we had problems with it when mechanical came through.
Right.
But,
I think, if I recall correctly, we've added a couple of things. One is the sewer work.
The sewer and the data was really, I think, the big jump. We talked about data last time, but that's now, you affirmatively said you'd like to keep it in this contract. Because I think there was a discussion, maybe town forces could do it, and a decision, no, that's...
what does that add to the cost?
We don't have a firm cost on this, because literally the scope was solidified by the town on Monday.
Not the board, but, okay, thank you.
Brenda, can you hold the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
I believe we need to move forward, so yes.
Councilwoman Kirk.
No, I want time to look at this and get the breakdown.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Oxen.
No.
Supervisor Schlott.
Yes. We'll get that signed for you tomorrow, Joel.
Sure, thank you very much.
Anything else under new business? Seeing none, we'll move on to our evening public comment section. Mr. Landis. Linda.
Oh dear, I don't,
You're going to have to steal the microphone here, Linda.
that's all right. They can hear me. My name is Linda Elmer. I live on 42 Frederick Street, and I'm president of the Boston Area Seniors. And from what I understand, this place won't be ready, the new town hall won't be ready till the first year. Is that what you said?
We're on schedule for the middle of December.
You told me a week and a half ago when you came to see the seniors, it was August.
I don't remember saying that.
Yes,
Linda.
you did.
Okay, I'm not saying I didn't. I said I don't remember saying that.
This is totally unsuitable for the seniors. We're just now, after all this time, kind of sort of getting comfortable in the gym, but it's still not our home. And things are picking up now on the outside. COVID's going down. People are getting out doing more things. I'm very afraid Mr. Bargosian is going to come to me and tell me someday that he wants to rent the gym and we got to move. Then the seniors are out again. I don't want to have to move them to another location. They don't handle the move good. Seniors don't like changes. I'm really disappointed. You've told us so many dates in the last year and a half of when things were going to be done. And it just, nothing, I don't ever see anything done. You didn't swing a hammer in that place for a whole year, for crying out loud. Doesn't make any sense to me. If I had to move out of my house because it had mold, I sure as hell get it fixed so I can get back in it. So I'm just saying, our seniors are over 400 strong, and we probably have 200 or 250 that are local, and they're not happy. So I'm just here to voice their concerns. We need to be back in this building. We have a right to be in this building. It was built for the seniors in the first place, by seniors. I don't know if anybody here knows the history of the seniors, but the land was donated to the seniors and someone built the building for the seniors. But unfortunately, people of their age, my age, found it difficult to handle the billing and take care of the building and everything else that goes along with all this property. So they sold it to the town of Boston. And when they did that, they made a quick deed, which in turn, they sold it to Boston, but it gave us the right, as long as we ran the programs for the seniors of Saratoga County, we had a right to stay in this building. And then later on, the building was sold from the Boston Spa Village to the town of Milton. Again, the quick deed went with the purchase, giving us the right to be here. And the seniors want to be here. So what does it take? Do I understand that nothing's going to happen for 2.5 months because we're waiting on paperwork?
That's about right.
That's stupid. It's
That's-
wrong.
We can't do anything about that, Linda. That's the law. Where we are, things have to be bid out, the contracts.
And then when we come to the next board meeting, there's something else you're going to have to bid on, but if you want it, you got to look at it first, so it's going to go to the next board meeting, and it's just going to keep going. Nothing's been proved to me that. You guys, I don't ever hear anyone here talk about the seniors. You do once in a while. Nobody else here does. No one here cares for the seniors except for maybe me and 3 other people in here. Come on, do something. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Landis? Yes.
Hello, Michael Landis, 272 Meadowlark. Is it okay? Just a couple quick things. Thank you for attending the public meeting. It means a lot. I would not presume to tell the board how to handle that meeting. I would just perhaps offer just a couple of suggestions. Maybe ask interested parties to submit something in advance, maybe some major points concerning their case, to try to minimize the speechifying that might result in some of the chaos. I mean, I think it was Mr. Fuller who said it's going to be an emotional event. So perhaps some comments in advance in writing might straighten the evening out. Perhaps some, good old 19th century debate rules. Each side gets to lay out their case, and then the other one gets to kind of rebut, and rather than have like a free-for-all with people raising their hands and hooting over each other. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I just, I think it would be most productive if we had some kind of clear ground rules in advance. That's all. I'm so grateful that you guys are acting on this. That's all. I just thought, I'd throw that out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. O'Leary. John, you got a little bit closer to this one.
You can hear me.
I know, but the folks at home probably can't, so the people at home might not be able to. So I'm going to ask you to step up to this microphone.
The fact that this microphone never works at every single meeting tells me everything that I need to know why we are not back in the town hall. If you cannot fix a simple problem, like making this microphone work at the meeting so people can stand up and speak, how in the world can you get things done in town hall? I'm not an engineer. I'm not a contractor. But I see that Stewart's is able to put up a new building in about, what, 2 to 3 months? And we're going on a year and a half, and we can't take care of these relatively minor problems. I mean, this is like totally inexcusable, totally inexcusable. And everybody on this board really should be ashamed of themselves for not making this thing happen, and particularly you, Mr. Supervisor, because you are the supervisor, you're the leader. You're supposed to make things happen. And things are not happening. And on another point, I'm a little perplexed over this whole Heritage Springs hearing. Why in the world are we focusing on a hearing for rates when 3 months ago we received a letter from the county indicating that they are willing to take over the Heritage Springs sewer system? Why are we not working toward that end of turning the system over to the county for the benefit of all the people in this town, as opposed to dinking along with this rate hearing thing? It doesn't make a bit of sense. And I put that on everybody on this board. Nobody's talking about these things. Why are we not talking about it? Why do we not have things in action right now of turning the system over to the county?
Turning the system over is not as easy as giving the keys. Heritage would love to give the keys to the county. They would do it tomorrow.
I know everything that needs to be done. I know everything that needs to be done. And it is relatively simple. It is. It's all based on the math. It's all based on the math. And the math is all there. And I find it also curious, Mr. Supervisor, that you were meeting with some of the principals of Heritage Springs just a few days ago in your office. What is that all about?
I met with a couple of the principals to see what it was, what we as a board can do to try to get this thing resolved.
Why are you asking them? You know what needs to be done. You know what needs to be done. Why are you asking them? I mean, come on, folks. Mr. Froelich, you're the one that initiated asking the county to look at the system. I'm assuming that you're in favor of turning it over.
I have brought this up every month, John, or every meeting, and I keep bringing it up. I can't move by myself.
I understand that. So let's talk about it. Councilperson Kerr, I believe that you're in favor of turning it over?
I haven't stated that, no.
Councilman Blaisdell, I believe you're in favor of turning it over?
I was at one point, so
I'm sorry?
I was at one point, and
Okay.
yeah.
It's for the benefit of the residents, okay? I mean, we've got 3 people on a town board. I didn't ask Councilman Isatchin. I'm sorry, I have trouble with your name.
Saxon.
Yes, thank you.
1 minute, John.
I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but I think there are some options that we need to consider.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it, please. Let's talk about it, and let's get it done. This town has a history of not getting things done. Look at the microphone. That's been years, even in the old town hall.
John, that was working this afternoon, John. Brenda was here, Terry was here. That was working at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
It was working.
Guess it's not working now.
No, it isn't, but it was then. Anyone else? Mr. Bogosian.
Thank you. I really don't know where to begin. Did I actually hear you say we have to follow the law, Mr. Zlotnick? Is that what you said in regards to the 2.5 months of paperwork? What law would that be?
I'm not familiar with some Wick's law because our project is over a certain amount of dollars.
So why don't we follow Transportation Corporation law?
Which says?
Which says you have to have a rate review at intervals of no more than 5 years. We're at 8.
Actually, sir, we're not at 8. Every year Heritage Springs turns in.
No, that's not a rate review.
Every year they turn in paperwork. It
That
says
is
what their
not
rates
a
are,
rate review.
how many customers they have, how many problems they've had. We all get to review that.
That's not a rate review. You know that. I don't know if this was a talking point you decided to come up with in your meeting with Heritage, but it's not a rate review. You haven't done a rate review until I believe it was 2013, 2012, 2013, whatever it was. Mr. Craig, Ms. Kerr, and Brian Osterhout were on a committee to do the rate review, which I didn't necessarily agree with, but we did. So it hasn't been done since then. So don't tell the public that you do it every year, because you don't. Once again, I ask the board to fulfill its statutory obligation to complete the rate-making proceeding regarding the Heritage Springs sewer rates. Getting a report that consists of nothing more than numbers provided to the town by the principals of Heritage Springs, not even a tax return, does not constitute a rate-making proceeding. This board said they're going to continue the rate-making proceeding, and you have not. Now, I'm going to ask, since you mentioned it, Heritage Springs would love to give the keys to the county. What is preventing them?
I'm not sure what's stopping them from doing it.
Why don't they do it? All that is required of this board is to pass a resolution to allow the county to take over Heritage Springs Sewer Works. That's in Transportation Corporation. Have you ever actually read it?
Not the entire document, no, sir.
I know, the entire document takes about 4 minutes, 37 seconds to read. You ought to invest that time.
30 seconds, sir.
No, I think I have more than that.
No, you don't, sir. 30 seconds.
Okay, then I'll go right to the heart of it. You have your controller doing a report, which is not allowed for in Transportation Corporation law. So in that instance, you decide to go outside the law. There's no reason for the controller to do it. The employee can do it, but you're placing the controller in a very difficult and unfair position of producing a report that is agreeable to you, Mr. Supervisor. That puts undue pressure on the controller to provide a report that is agreeable to you, or potentially face dismissal. I don't know.
Your time is up, sir. Thank you.
But it's not the right thing to do. It is irrelevant to the rate proceeding. And once again, it is not compliant with Transportation Corporation law. And I have one question for Mr. Bianchi. How many ERUs is the town hall? What will the cost be for the town to connect to the sewer?
Don't know that.
So how many square feet is the town hall, Joe?
I want to say, is it like 14,000 square feet maybe?
Very good. So our building, the medical building across the street is about,
Mr. Bogosian?
so you're going to have approximately, based on that square footage, you're going to have somewhere 10 to 16 ERUs, so it's going to cost the town $20,000 to $30,000+ to connect into the sewer. That's after you build the pipe and do all the work. Have you calculated that into the cost?
I don't know if we have or not.
It needs to be. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Bogosian?
Oh, thank you. Corruption in this town is not back. Hello? No. Hello? No.
Good evening. As my brother said, I don't know where to start. It is funny to hear somebody say that they want to follow the law. I've been standing here for I don't know how many years trying to get the Transportation Corporation law followed, and it has been to no avail. But good evening, Mr. Supervisor. As you are well aware, this board, including you, are involved in an ongoing rate proceeding. And let me just clarify, the annual report that Heritage provides you is not a rate proceeding, is not a rate setting event. That starts with a zero number and you work forward from that. and that is not it. I don't know what or where you came up with that, but it is a myth. And you and the board are involved in an ongoing rate proceeding regarding the rates charged by Heritage Springs Sewer Works, Inc. You, along with the members of this board, have been provided with sworn statements from a certified public accountant, the sworn statements of Heritage Springs Sewer Works, Inc. and their filed tax returns, along with a roadmap on how to bring this ongoing rate proceeding to a conclusion. Mr. Supervisor, it has come to our attention, and Mr. Lennox stole a little of my thunder, I don't know how he found out, that on or about March 6th of this year, you met privately with Jim Mitchell and Mike McNamara from Heritage Springs Sewer Works, Inc. To our knowledge, nowhere in any rate-making proceeding is it acceptable for one member of the regulatory authority to meet privately with the entity that they are charged with regulating during an ongoing rate-making proceeding. This would be like representatives of National Grid meeting privately with the chairman of the Public Service Commission without the presiding officer or members of the Rate Review Board present and outside the public forum. I'm asking you tonight, Mr. Supervisor, if you intend to immediately, fully, and publicly disclose to the members of this board and the public about what took place at that private meeting, including disclosing documents, as well as the content of your conversations, or do you intend to shield this from the board and the public, what occurred during this private meeting?
1 minute, sir.
Is that your answer?
My answer is no, I'm not going to disclose what happened at that meeting.
Okay, so you're all for hiding and no transparency and no accountability. And you know what it smacks of is the 3 men in the room. Remember that guy, Shelley Silver's in prison. That's 3 guys in the room. The mere appearance of a conflict. It's disgusting that you met with him. It's been years and you can't even set a public hearing that you said that you would do back in July 2020. Furthermore, I'm requesting full disclosure regarding any other private meetings or communications you've had with Heritage Springs Sewer Works representatives outside of public meetings. I guess you gave me the answer that you're not going to answer.
You asked a question, I gave you an answer. No, I'm not going to disclose.
Well, I can assure you that as you move forward, you must recuse yourself from any activity in this rate-making proceeding. And I don't know if you, Jim, and Mike came up with that gibberish about sending in an annual report is a rate-making proceeding annually, which it is not. Every one of you members on this board are charged with responsibility under transportation.
Sir, 30 seconds, your 3 minutes are up, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Any other comments? Good. Every one of you
You're
people.
done, sir.
Good. Every one of you people are charged with
Sir, if you do
responsibility.
not stop, I will close public comment, and the people on the phone who want to say something will not get their chance. You've had your 3 minutes, actually you've had over 3 minutes. You're done.
I'm not done. You're done.
Mrs. Morosi.
Ethics.
Can you hear me, Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Just to clarify, because I couldn't hear too well, I am on the museum board, and could you tell me the target date for the court to reopen in your building and to be vacating the museum?
We're planning to move out of the museum the last week of May so that the museum can have its facilities back on June 1st.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's what they came up with.
And Mr. Rossi.
I did not know my sister was going to go before me, so that was a surprise to me. Frank Rossi Jr., 63 Saratoga Ave, Apartment B, Boston Spot, New York. Mr. Supervisor, it's Groundhog Day again. I can't even fathom what is going on here anymore. And I want to say one thing. Every transaction or meeting or event I have with staff in the town of Milton is a great event. Yesterday, I dealt with John Bonanno, Laura, the assessment department, great conversation back and forth, worked together well, always a pleasure. Brenda, whenever I deal with her and her side of the office there, it's just pleasant and wonderful, and the building department and everybody there, highway, the employees of the town of Milton are wonderful people to work with, and we are lucky and fortunate. I don't know how the hell we end up with such a dichotomy between that pleasantness and what we see at these meetings and what we see in the leadership going on right now. And it baffles me. It absolutely baffles me. We just went through an event in this country, in this town, that should have united us, got us back on a better track. And instead, the infighting, the fighting, and everything else just continues. The seniors are mad. That hasn't changed over the last year. The Bogosians are mad. That hasn't changed over the last year. Ryan gets things at the last minute that, for whatever reason, he doesn't want to vote on. That hasn't changed in the last year. I don't get this anymore. Why we are just doing this over and over again. It gives us such a black eye as a town.
1 minute, sir.
And in a town where we have so many good people working for us, we've got to do something here. We've got to have a much more pleasant, unified effort, township moving forward. Enough's enough. And it's got to start at the top. And the two people there on the screen, one playing with her glasses right now, feverishly, and the one that's not, above her, need to probably be where that source comes from, or somebody else is going to need to step in and take care of it at this point in time, because I don't know who else is going to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close public comment. I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel issues and pending litigation.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Frank. Get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, John. Hold the board, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalata.
Yes.
So, you asked the question, right, guys? So you should get a phone call tomorrow like I did after asking a question?
Hold down, Fred.
I need a sugar.
Anthony knows. Who's going to fix it?
Lots faster.
That's why
Actually, we had an interesting conversation.
I just want to know one thing.
Because Don is early enough. No, Josh is trying to find out which chair. John.
See, the first person
Need
here
a motion to come out of executive session.
He said, somebody moved his.
Second.
Thank you.
I said I.
Brenda, can you call the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalata.
Yes. No action was taken in executive session.
I feel like I'm at the kids' thing.
Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone, for coming. This ends our meeting. Good night. Lord God bless you.